Hey, housewives, come on in. You know the dirty dishes are still in the sink and the laundry is still in the basket. Pop your AirPods in and make yourself at home here. I'm Tori.
I'm Tracy.
And we are your Unlikely Housewives.
Stepping out in faith and believing that God calls the unlikely, we are here to show you the appreciation and validation you deserve, lead you to authentic relationships, and release you from believing the cultural lies to restore your faith and wellness.
Pull up those high-waisted yoga pants, tighten your top knot, and reheat your coffee for the third time today. Turn up the volume and let's go. Hey, housewives, welcome back.
Hey, friends.
Glad you're here. Okay, so we're hoping the title didn't scare you off when we were talking about detox.
No, we hope it welcomes you in.
Detox can be a scary word, don't you think?
Yes, it can also be like a negative word, but that's not what we're here for.
No, not what we're here for at all. So, funny story. We had this episode title before we even had the name to our podcast.
Before I think we even knew we were doing a podcast.
Kind of. But okay, should we share with them what we wanted to name the podcast at first?
I feel like we should.
Okay.
We need to let them into like a few of our secrets.
Yes. Okay. So obviously my name's Tori.
And I am Tracy. And hold on, before you tell them the name though, when we were like meeting, and we're going to tell you how we were meeting in a second, we wanted to just do Tuesdays together and go live or something on social media and just share this randomness that we experienced. But instead, we were going to call our live
TNT. Let's blow some shit up.
Okay. Yep. Tracy and Tori, TNT. We're some dynamite.
That is our humor, y'all. That is what our poor husbands live with on a daily basis. We're hilarious.
We think we are. And I think that's probably why we are together.
And why we have a podcast.
Yep. We humor each other.
So
in our TNT, like we were going to go live. We were going to share these things. And then why did we come up with Detox Download?
So we have to back up. We started Detox because
I needed a detox.
You needed a detox because you got COVID last year and you were starting to feel better, but you felt what?
I couldn't sweat. After I had COVID, I could not sweat. I could not detox. And I know a lot of good things about taking care of our body. And I was working out and I was doing everything I could to sweat and my body wouldn't release those toxins.
So what you knew was that we had a infrared sauna.
Yep.
And that I was like, well, come on over. And infrared saunas are amazing. And so I was like, come on over and we'll do sauna sessions.
Yeah. And that was February and I'm always cold. So I was freezing and I was like, yeah, let's just go sit in a hot sauna and see what happens.
Sell on her. When I was like, she's like, how hot does it get? And I was like, about 150. She goes, that sounds good enough.
Yep.
Like,
that was good.
Okay.
And so, I thought 20 minutes, 30 minutes in, I'm like, this is great. I love this. I'm warm. We're chatting. This is fun. And then all of a sudden it kicks in and I was sweating profusely.
And it's such a different kind of sweat too. It's like a release.
It felt amazing.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got addicted to it.
It is a little bit of addicting.
Mm-hmm.
So we started these sauna sessions and we started talking and
we were basically like downloading like life, everything we'd been through,
situations,
marriage stuff, kids stuff,
all the things.
Yeah. And we were like, man, this is the best detox download we've had in a long time.
And we were like, we need to remember that title. We're going to use that for something.
Mm-hmm.
And here
it
we are.
It was going to be for our Facebook lives, our TNTs.
Yes, for our TNTs. Live with TNT. Doesn't that sound like a talk show?
Maybe that's what's next. Post-podcast.
Oh, Lord. We were just talking about how we couldn't do this if this was a visual. Y'all, we have top knots and we are
kind of
hot messes in our sweatshirts and yoga pants and all the things. And we're like, ooh, to have to do our hair and makeup.
Not an every day.
No, not a thing. Not a thing. Okay.
Well, one last funny, I feel like we should add about this.
Oh, you have to tell them what. what your
So,
husband thought.
guys, it was probably about 1 or 2 months ago that my husband actually asked, he goes, so you and Tori are dressed in the sauna, right? And I looked at him and I'm like, are you serious? For the last 6 to 8 months, you thought Tori and I were naked in the sauna together?
It's like,
what kind of
and then
Who?
it made me,
What?
well, that too. And when he was going through like some injury stuff and some illness stuff, like we're like, come on. I was like, come over and do the sauna. And I'm like, well, no wonder he didn't want to come over.
No kidding. That was post his arm surgery. We're like, come detox if you could.
Do it naked. That has nothing to do with your shoulder.
Nope. And you can be fully dressed, friends, and you can sweat through.
Yes.
There's
still benefits.
We are not that close.
Yes. Not yet. Not yet. So,
all right.
So we hope that gives you just kind of a little bit insight into our thoughts on detox. And
we wanted to make sure you realized kind of the backstory of where this came from. We really feel that doing a detox download is important, but there's so much stigmatism that comes around it. And, it is a trending buzzword that everybody has like all these ideas around it. Guys, we're not here to tell you to do a cleanse. We're not here to tell you to do like elimination things. Like, we just wanted to come and talk about when we started this detox download and our intentions with it, like in sticking to this, we want it to clear out just some junk, whether it's in your head, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual. We want to encourage you to clear out the junk to allow room for the good to come back in. And whether that's like to feel some joy, to feel less pain, to sleep better, to just
feel peace.
Yes, have more peace. Like that is really what our goal is in doing a detox download. So let's start with our first topic.
Tell them about what you did with your life coach, how you started.
Yes.
Where you started in order to start detoxing and figuring out where the detox needed to be, whether it was mental, physical, or spiritual. Tell them about what you did with your life coach.
Okay. Yes. So in January, I started with a life coach. Huge shout out to Melissa. We'll put in the show notes her link so you guys can follow her because she's been amazing. When I started in January, long before any of this podcast was happening, it was really, I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4. I run a separate business, been through a lot of just hard stuff last year, kind of got into a really bad mental space and really didn't know how to get out of it. The overwhelm kept me there. Okay. So the overwhelm of I got to put meals on the table for my family. I got to take care of my business. I need to be there for my team. I need to do all these things just with taking care of myself and all of it. I froze. I lived for 2 months after my husband had surgery in November and we went through, self-quarantining, all these things. I just froze. I didn't do anything.
And that's so common.
That's
so common when you're in the overwhelm. So many of us just pause. I know my reaction typically is when I get into the overwhelm, I retreat. I'm out. Like you cannot find me. I find my own space. I pull out of everything. I almost drop everything and walk away and then am MIA for however long I need to fix.
Yeah. And mind you, if you're there, it's okay. We knew, we've talked about this and we've processed this obviously with my life coach and Tori and I have together, but I needed to be there to work through some things and to think about some things. But once I started with my life coach in January, the goal was, okay, I'm ready to take action, but I don't know how. I don't know how to get out of this funk. I don't know how to get excited again about doing all the things. I had to start somewhere small. And she's like, all right, here's our first thing that I needed to do was a complete audit of home, audit of business, audit of personal, the largest brain dump you've ever done. And I literally took these 3 pieces of paper and wrote it down in home, business, personal, and wrote everything down to the point of I want to meal plan better. I want to work out. I want to take time for myself. I want to make sure I do my quiet time. I want to make sure that cleaning, decluttering, my house, my closets, my linen closet, all the way down to the drawer I wanted to clean. I wrote it all down. First off, that was a cleanse for me. That brain dump was so healing just to write it all down and get it out of my head. I think I slept better after I did that than I had in a really long time because I would go to bed every single night with all that stuff still on my head. And it was all of a sudden okay, I've released some things. And then the next step I took is what I did with her. And again, I will have to reference this in our show notes, but it was a book and I believe it was called Focus, but I really do need to look at it. We just took the list and put it into categories of like what's important, what's not, what can wait, what can be delegated. And she helped me do all that. And that took me from a space of total stuck to, okay, I have action. I can move forward. And so first off, we just want you guys to realize that we understand this is a process. You're not going to listen to this podcast and walk away and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. But the reason that we're doing this is the end of the year. We really want you to take this time and, take this end of year type audit, do a physical basically on yourself and say, okay, of personal, of home life, if you do a business, you have a career, what does it look like? What worked and what didn't over this last year?
So you're looking at that audit and that's where to start.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're breaking it down into 3 different categories, 3 different ways you can start a detox of this process today. Not just with the download of everything.
Right.
But we want to tackle the 3 main subjects of it, the mental side of it, the physical side of it, and the spiritual side of it, and just give you some tactical ways that you can feel somewhat like you've detoxed a little bit or know what you're going to start in 2022. That is not that far away, y'all.
No. And I think I want to remind you guys, like I said, I started with the life coach in January and we did this. It has taken me 12 months and I'm still doing things. We need to be reminded, and we're going to talk about this later this month too, and before the first of the year begins. But when you do this kind of reflection, it's going to take time and it's going to take baby steps, because if you try to do everything all at once, what you're going to deal with is failing at one and quitting it all over again. So do those small steps in order to have that victory that you can celebrate. So in the mental space, the one thing that we want to talk about is decluttering, whether it's your physical space, some of the things that you are trying to accomplish, but feel so overwhelmed that you're not even doing one thing towards the goal.
Science has shown that if your physical space is decluttered, that you feel more mentally clear.
Yes.
That's why so many business studies and business coaches talk about clearing your desk. They want your workspace clean and only have what you're working on at that time. And at the end of the day, put everything away. And then in the morning, have exactly the 3 things that are the priorities, have those sitting in front and center. And that way, when you sit down at your desk, you go straight to those 3 things and you're mentally clear. There's no feeling of anxiousness or this.
Where do I begin?
Claustrophobia with just stuff around you. So when we were talking about this, we were talking about how we accumulate so much stuff.
Yes,
ma'am. I was talking to my husband about this as like Christmas is coming up and what do you get kids? And I was like, I'm done with having the little toys. It's like as your kids get older, the toys get smaller and smaller and more expensive.
Who came up with mini brands? Do y'all have mini brands yet?
No. What are mini brands?
They're just tiny toys. They're mini, tiny.
I'm already having a hard enough time. I think we're past the Lego stage, but now we're into jewelry making. So all the beads.
Yeah.
My fingers to tie all those bracelets and necklaces don't work that way. I don't know. It's like a little mini.
I know everything is so small. That's besides the point. Squirrel.
Kind of. Anyways, so if you were looking at your house, one easy way is to put your house rooms in different categories. Kids areas, your personal areas, and then joint areas, family areas. And what if you just looked at one area at a time? One of the things that made me feel better is I handed my kids a laundry basket and I said, take this laundry basket, go to your closet. I want you to pull out all of the clothes that you do not like to wear, that you don't wear, that don't fit, that you didn't even remember you had. And they filled up the laundry basket with all kinds of things. And then I said, okay, now do that for your shoes. Now do that for your pants and shorts drawer. I didn't even have to do it.
Yeah.
But that made me feel better about just this decluttering of my kids' closets. Now, mind you, my expectations, now they came downstairs with full laundry baskets. And I was a little disappointed in some of the choices that they made, but
Had to let go a little.
I gave them some more responsibility. But then I went back up into their closets. And as I'm evaluating the clothes that they left, I was like, I think they only went through like 6 shirts. Because I'm looking at other stuff and like, they haven't worn this shirt in 3 years. Why is this one still hanging up?
And I don't understand how that happens when we do it almost every season.
You're much better than I am.
Oh, I have to, because we share space.
Yeah. Your kids share. Yeah. But that was just a slight decluttering. Now, mind you, all of those clothes that my children have said that they don't wear, don't fit, that they've decided that will donate, are now sitting in a box in my dining room.
Oh, we're going to talk about that box in a minute. What you can do with it.
Yes, we are going to talk about it, because she told me, I was like, really?
That
sounds like a great idea.
We've got a great idea to share with you guys in just a second. But on this decluttering, she's talking about like kid space, personal space, your desk. I want to talk about the kitchen. I actually shared this in the boundaries episode, where I actually clean my kitchen every single night and my dishes are done. The reason that I do that, you guys, is because my mornings are chaos. Most mornings are. Getting ready for school is the hardest part. And if I start with my kitchen already cluttered, sink full, dirty dishes, I don't have what I need. Like containers aren't clean to make, all their home lunches. Like that causes me extra stress. So in order to be calmer, have more peace in my space, my kitchen has to be clean. My kitchen counter and my kitchen sink. Now, on my kitchen counter, I have a huge island. There's a space for the papers. There's a space for like the knick-knacky toys. I don't have to have it completely clean. That's like a Sunday weekend thing where we'll go and be like, okay, put this back in the room where it goes. But I at least have to have it organized enough that when we line up the water bottles, we line up the backpacks and everything for the mornings, it's at least a flow that all the kids know how to pitch in. And I have a more peaceful morning. There's less yelling.
I absolutely feel that. When you came over this morning and we were sitting at my island and talking, like it took every part of me not to walk over to my sink and just start doing the dishes, because you just are staring at it. And I didn't do it last night. And it is a habit I'm trying to get into as well, based on her suggestion. And I've noticed that, wow, it is so much easier to get my children out the door when it's magic, y'all. It's magic.
I know. Now, if I could just get on the flip side of so many of the other things, getting things done at night before I go to bed, I would feel better. But at some point in time, I just shut off. I'm like, it's bedtime. I'm not worried about it.
If I could figure out how to vacuum when my kids are asleep, that would be amazing.
Yeah. They might stay asleep. It's soothing.
It's the white noise.
Yeah, white noise.
Don't mind. Is the vacuum going?
But okay, before we forget about the box, I have to jump on this. So one of our friends, mutual friends, just shared this last week. There is this organization called the Give Back Box. You guys can just look it up online. And I'm going to butcher a little bit of it, but you can check it out. I know that it was founded in Chicago. This corporate woman who worked for a shoe company wanted to help a homeless man with some shoes, and she didn't have what she needed to give to him. And long story short, she said, hey, let's collect some things. Well, it turns out, guys, you can save all your Amazon boxes or whatever boxes that you get.
Because we know you're getting them right now because of all your Christmas.
Yes.
Shopping, right?
Target boxes, etc. Save those big boxes. Okay. Once the holidays are over, when, most Midwesterners, we kind of settle down, have some winter projects that we like to do January, February, keep those boxes. Okay. You get to fill the boxes with things from your home, clothes, shoes, maybe there's some old hats and gloves, just different things. And all you have to do is print a free shipping label and mail the box off. And I think USPS supports, and actually you guys, they will ship it to the closest organization that works with the Give Back Box. And you can look in the frequently asked questions. You can have a tax write-off for it. It's just such a great organization, and it saves you the time, saves you the money. And we want to encourage you to declutter. So take away from the mental aspect, save a box, go through a room or two, take some of that clutter that is just there, save it, ship the box off, and feel a little bit more free.
Absolutely. And you're giving back at the same time.
Absolutely.
And not only is decluttering a physical space, but what about this time of year is busy for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's like a snowball effect. Everything starts to line up in August, right? After some back to school, and then the fall activities, and all of a sudden you're in the Christmas season, and then it's New Year's, and before you know it, it's May and your kids are out for summer. And you're like, holy crap, where did things go? Where did time go? So we were talking about what it looks like too, is that if you were to look at your schedule for January, because Lord knows you're already booking things up for January, February, March. I bet you probably already have your spring break plans. Mm-hmm. But what does it look like to declutter your schedule?
Yeah.
We get stuck in that hustle of we got to do. And it's so easy coming out of a month of all the social activities and all of the parties and all of the things. And then come January, you're just in that flow. But what if you were to declutter and take a couple of things off the plate?
Yeah.
Or how would it affect your mental health, your kids' mental health, if maybe instead of having them do sports year round, what if they took a season off? And I know that there's a lot of, if they're in club sports and that, but what if they just didn't do this one extra practice or something like that? Are the benefits better for taking something off your plate than just meeting that expectation?
Yeah. And I think when we're talking about the hustle, it's the space that you need, as a mom and dad or whoever's listening, we need to take that space to just reset. And January and February are really great for that because it is the slower months, usually post-holiday. And we typically still fill it because we've done it already. We've been doing it since, like Tori said, the fall, all the way through the holidays. So we want to encourage you to take a look at the schedule and make sure that you're allowing space to reset, to rest, and making sure that that schedule is allowed for some of these small victories to happen of taking care of some of the decluttering in your house, of your kitchen, of your bathroom. Maybe it's a bathroom drawer, whatever. You guys, it is so freeing to do that kind of stuff. Okay, let's move on to physical. Obviously, physical. Yeah, there we go. I just pictured you in neon.
Attire.
Yes, and neon. I mean, you've already got that scrunchy.
Spandex and yes.
Well,
I want
okay.
everybody to have that visual as we speak. No, I'm kidding. Please, for the love of God, don't.
Physical detox is very important, which is actually how we got here.
Yes.
I needed to sweat. It was so important to heal.
And sweating really is the easiest and most natural way to detox. That is your body's primary way of removing toxins from your body. And if you're not sweating on a regular basis, then your liver, your kidneys, other organs are really working too hard because they're having to do that without it coming out of your skin, which is the largest organ in your body. Fun fact.
Yes, very good. And I will say, I'm someone who can work out and not sweat, no matter how hard I work out. I mean, it takes like an 80-degree day for me and running outside to actually sweat. So some people, it just is harder for. And so not only did we talk about the sauna in the beginning, that obviously was helpful, and working out, you guys can also detox in a warm, hot bath.
Yes, Epsom salt baths are great. But if you're really doing a hot bath, you start to sweat and you can feel it before. I mean, so the bath is actually helping you sweat as well.
I absolutely love, I don't remember if I think it's Dr. Hyman's recipe, I guess you could say, and it's Epsom salt, baking soda, and lavender oil. And I just sweat. I take a good 20-25 minute bath, and then I get in a cold shower.
Yes.
It's amazing.
That's the other thing that you want to be sure of. If you do take a Epsom salt bath or hot bath in general, you do want to take a cold shower afterwards. Not only because it helps your nervous system, but also because it's rinsing off the toxins that have come out of your skin.
Yeah.
Because you don't want that just sitting on your skin. You want to actually get that off. And so you kind of want to towel dry first before you get into a cold shower, but then you want to rinse off and make sure that you get all of the toxins so they're not just sitting on your skin, irritating it later.
Great tip. Okay, you guys, this was a really hard one. Are you ready for it? Drink your water.
Jinx.
Yes, you need to drink your water. It's so important to rehydrate. Drink some electrolytes. Super, super helpful.
And again, it's so easy at the end of the day to open a bottle of wine and to enjoy a glass. And absolutely have that. Enjoy that. But remember, have balance and be drinking water throughout the day, or have a cutoff saying, okay, I know I'm going to drink coffee until 10. All right, we're lying. You drink coffee until you start eating lunch because you're a mom and you're still warming up the coffee for the third time.
Yes.
And you're like, finally, I can finish this.
You guys, we just opened a bottle of wine. Excuse me. Nope. We did not. Bottles of water. Yes, water. Promise. Yeah.
She's lying. It was wine. No, I'm kidding.
You're going to get us in trouble by your husbands? I'm not sure. Mom? I'm sorry, Mom. No, at noon, I was like, I came over.
I don't know what time it's recording this. It could be 5:00.
Dang it. We're so honest. For real. We did not drink water until noon. Terrible. So we are, and remember, we're work in progress. We know the rules, guys.
Yes. Yes. A lot of people don't track the amount of water that they drink. That's something you can guess how much water you're drinking. And usually if you're guessing how much water you're drinking, you're actually drinking less than you think you are.
Yeah.
So it's important to track. So you have a starting point and going, oh, wow, I only drink 30 ounces a day. Not great. But another good rule of thumb is to make sure that you're drinking half of your body weight in ounces of water a day. So for example, if you weigh 150 pounds, drink 75 ounces. And with that too, if you're working out, you actually need to be drinking more than that. Or if you are outside sweating, you need to be drinking more than half your body weight in ounces a day.
Yeah.
As well.
And most people, you guys, those of us that live in the Midwest, once it hits this time of year where it's cold, which 2021 hasn't quite hit the cold yet, but we will, I'm sure. When it's cold, we don't drink as much water because we get the coffee, we get the tea. We just want to keep sipping on the hot drinks. So drink your water.
Another way to make sure though, is instead of drinking ice water is to drink room temperature water.
Mm-hmm.
And
helps with digestion.
It does. And you can actually, have water instead of having bottles of water sit in the garage, have it sitting in the laundry room. And then that way it's not freezing. You're more likely to drink it.
Yeah, that's true. And drink it faster too.
It's true.
All right. Our last detox download category, spiritual. So important.
And this is a tough one.
It is probably one of the toughest ones to really, for the two of us to say, okay, how do we do a spiritual detox? Because we both have done them and not in anything other than clearing out the clutter, the spiritual,
noise.
The noise that causes us to steer away from being in the Bible and being in the Word and having our quiet time and being intentional. We get caught in that toxic junk world, basically, of, well, I believe, I know where my heart is, and it's truth. Okay. What?
That's my truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. It's not your truth. There's only one truth.
Yeah.
But I think when we were talking about cutting out the spiritual noise is sometimes we look at it as, great, I am doing the devotion. I am listening to such and such pastor on YouTube. I have got this and this. When is the last time you are physically reading your Bible and scripture? So many times. I love devotions.
Me too.
I love Bible studies. We're actually going through a Bible study together too with a group of women. But when is the last time that you've actually just read more than the scripture at the end of the devotion or the couple of verses that the Bible study says, focus on these and answer these questions? And it's so important to realize the Bible is a whole book. And while it's great, sound clips, Bible verses, so many of us recognize were the fun ones that go up on our walls that we have everywhere. For I know the plans that I have for you, created for such a time as this. But do you know the story behind the Bible verse? Do you know the full context of that? If the answer is no, that's a great place to start. What is the Bible verse that's on your necklace that you have that you love so much, or your favorite shirt? What is the Bible verse that goes with that? But have you read that full Bible story? Do you know the beginning of the verse of created for such a time as this? That one's a great one to start at. And that's what Mordecai talks to Esther about. And not a lot of people know that Mordecai basically tells Esther, if not you, God is going to use somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that's a great reminder. We forget about that part.
Yeah.
But those are little great places to start. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to start at Genesis 1:1
right
when you're reading the Bible. Now, it is great to look at it as a whole because it's a story, beginning to end. It is a story. But that's I say easy. It's easier said than done, right? Mm-hmm. An easy way to detox spiritually is detox from the fluff and just get straight into the truth. What does the Bible say? Read it for yourself.
Yeah. And I think for someone who, like, I am a believer, have been pretty much my whole life. And when I was really struggling last year, I was so overwhelmed and struggling so much that I was not being intentional. I let the overboard of just everything else, like social media and all that was going on in my life and everything, allow me to steer clear of being in the word and being intentional with my quiet time. Like I knew that I needed a spiritual detox at the beginning of this year when my heart hurt. It was longing for more and I couldn't find the answer and I couldn't do it myself. And it was as simple as just start again. Just start getting up every morning early and spending time with God. Get up and get in the Bible.
And you are great about your morning quiet times.
Yeah, I've been religious this year and it's been so fruitful.
Unintended. Sorry. But I know that about you. And that is absolutely where I can see that. And we've had conversations about how different your day is when you don't get those quiet times.
Yes, exactly.
I, on the other hand, I'm not a morning quiet time person. It's just, the real, it's never been my thing. It's just like, sorry, I had to. But for me, it's easier when the kids go to school.
Yeah.
Get my coffee and then have that 20 minutes and do it then, because that's my sweet spot. What's your sweet spot?
Right.
Everybody has different sweet spots.
100%. Your personality, it just depends on who you are. Because the minute I'm like doing the whole rush and my kids are off to school, I am ready. Like I'm ready to start my day. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to get the laundry, the dishes, whatever. Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I ease into that, like sliding in, going, oh, all right. Oh gosh, it's 10 already? Huh, how'd that happen?
It's true. But if I start my morning that way, then I know that like I'm just in the right place. So for your spiritual detox, we want to encourage you guys to stop the avoidance for one and just be aware. What does it look like this last year or two for you? Have you gone back to church? Have you been in fellowship? Have you been in a small group, a Bible study? What do you need now more than ever? And that you need to ask yourself that question. We can't answer that for you. Well, we know what you need. You need Jesus. But how are you going to get there? How are you going to get closer to him? And how are you going to avoid missing out on your quiet time, you shy away from prayer. You don't even go to that anymore. If you are feeling those things, then you need a spiritual detox. And that is, maybe a conversation with one of us. We're happy to have that conversation. And we want to be able to encourage you to move on and to see that there is so much more peace that can come from being in the word, knowing the truth and knowing who is leading and directing your life.
And when we're talking detox, again, our brain naturally is thinking taking something away.
Right.
Detox in the spiritual aspect is not necessarily taking something away. It might be adding something that is more fruitful. So maybe you have been going to church, watching church online for the last year and a half. Maybe now is the time for you to get back into the building and be with fellowship and have those peace be with you moments with the congregation and
the presence, feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit when you're worshiping.
Exactly.
So good.
As a whole, it's like that can make such a difference, and that could help make your spiritual life feel more alive too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up, but as usual, we have a piece of encouragement. I'm sure you can imagine where we're going with this. Today, we want to leave you with this. We want you to do your own detox download. Give yourself that audit. Take a look at your mental space, your physical aspects, your spiritual. Where are you in each of those? Okay. We want you to draw awareness to all of those and look at what is in your control and what isn't. Do that brain dump. Break it all down.
Just start with the brain dump. Just start with getting a piece of paper and writing on every aspect of it. All of the things, we can sort it out later. You can get to the point of where, okay, once you've gotten it all written down, like Tracy said, for her, once she did that, she just slept better.
Yeah.
And maybe that is just, you just need to write it down so you can go, okay. I mean, and who writes down things on a checklist just to cross them off? Oh, I do.
I'm raising my hand.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand too. Okay. So maybe that's where, and you can circle things going, this is a 2022 task. This is a in the next 5 days task. But just start by writing it down.
Yeah. And I can guarantee you that stuff I wrote down on those lists back in January, there's a lot still not checked off, but I let go of them.
There you go.
And that's a good detox.
Now do I sing, let it go?
Yes.
Let it go?
Very good.
That's a girl mom right there.
I know. No, the girl dad was when your husband busted out with it with this morning. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. We're going to get the husbands on here pretty soon.
Yes, we will.
That'll be good.
Male perspective.
Yes. And we do want to give a shout out.
Yes.
While we are, we've named this obviously the Unlikely Housewives, but we have gotten some great feedback from some dads, some from men, and they're saying, hey, don't sell yourself short.
Yes. This is good for me too. So thank you to the guys that are listening and wives. Share this with your husbands, if you'd like. Maybe it'll bring some encouragement to you through them.
Or maybe it'll encourage them to turn on a hot bath for you.
Yes. Oh, that would be so lovely.
All right, husbands, you heard us.
All right, housewives, we thank you so much for joining us this week. Get yourself a detox download.
And we will see you next week. Bye.
Whether we made you laugh or cry today, we pray you feel appreciated, bolder and braver than yesterday, stronger and more faithful for tomorrow, but living in who you were made to be today. Join our online community on Facebook. Find our link in the show notes.
Be sure to review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you enjoy listening. Until next time, housewives, we give you permission to walk confidently, freely, and be intentional in your slippers or stilettos.